Hola amigos, es Ivonne Emil Elizondo de Silver Moon Astrology. I hope everyone is doing fine, my friends. Okay, so check this. Isn't this cute? Look, a lovely lady gave this to me. I love her. Look at that. I am the good witch. I am the good witch. I don't think I've shown you this one, but look how cute she is. Look at even her shoes. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love the shirt. Anyhow, it is very appropriate for witch season, of course, and we're going to dive into like really deep witch season here in a few days. But today is the autumn equinox, the fall equinox, here in the northern hemisphere, and so I wanted to jump on and just have, I'm about to choke, have a little chat about the post eclipse, partial solar eclipse in Virgo that happened yesterday on the 21st. And then just do, seeing how everybody's surviving this eclipse season because it's been a doozy. So there's my baby boy. There he is, right there. Yep. Anyhow, so I don't have a chart to show you this time around, but I do want to dive into the eclipses first. So let's do that, and then we'll talk about the equinox. I'm hoping I remember about the equinox. I'm crossing my fingers, literally going to stay like this so that I can remember about the equinox. But it's an ADHD little trick, right? Okay, so the eclipses that happen, right? So just to remind everybody, we had no, we had the lunar eclipse on the 7th of September in Pisces, and then on the opposite polarity of that in Virgo, we had the partial solar eclipse yesterday. And again, everything in astrology tends to be a polarity of sorts, right? We see archetypal patterns that show up in polarities. Not everything is absolutely the way that astrology connects aspect wise isn't always opposites, but we tend to see these, tug of wars, these polarities, especially when we have eclipses. Right. And so the eclipse in Pisces, the lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 7th was very much more of an internal, and I mentioned this in the other videos, more of an internal integration, whereas the solar eclipse in Virgo is more of an external integration. And these eclipses, because they manage to hit occur, okay, at the 29th anaretic degree, which is a very powerful, potent degree in astrology within each of the signs. Okay, there's 30 degrees when it hits to that, it's 0 to 29 actually, right? But technically that's 30 degrees. So at that very end degrees, it's potent, okay? And those of us that have Pluto in Virgo, especially if you were born between 68 and 71, you are more prone to feel this Virgo solar eclipse that, it's super powerful. So what I wanted to do today is just kind of do a check-in and see how everybody was, feeling after this eclipse season, right? This eclipse bouncing back and forth because what is also happening in the skies, and I guess I could have shown you the chart, but I didn't actually pull the chart, and I'm trying to keep my fingers crossed while I like navigate technically through this, but I'm going to pull the chart. All right, give me a second. Okay, and I'm back. I don't edit my videos. Maybe I should edit my videos, but I don't even know how to do that. Me and technology, just I know somebody said I was listening to somebody this morning who said, well, either you, no matter what, I'm gonna have to learn technology, right? But for this moment, I'm not editing my videos. Maybe somebody can help me with that. Okay, but I am going to share the astrology chart because I do know how to do that. All right, here we go. Okay, this is what I wanted to really just chat about these two eclipses, right? So the first eclipse was in Pisces. It was a lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago, and then on the 21st yesterday we had the partial solar eclipse in Virgo, as I keep mentioning. But here's the important part about this, right? These two eclipses have been activating. All right, Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde. Now, Neptune retrograde indirectly, okay, but Saturn retrograde for certain because Saturn initially is it ingressed back into Pisces as it retrogrades. But with this solar eclipse in Virgo, it was directly opposite of that. So you could see the 29 degrees here and then 28 degrees here. So, this solar eclipse is definitely going to be activated. Now, the reason that this is an important, how do I stop sharing? There we go. The reason why this is important is because this Neptune Saturn conjunction has been happening for months now. Okay. And it's been slowly working its way to an exact degree. It hasn't accomplished that. I think it won't happen until next year, February, March, April. I have to check my astrology chart. I don't remember off the top of my head. But for now, the Saturn Neptune is an important part of the eclipses that just happened. Okay. And so let's go back and review the Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde, and what that means, that theme, right? So the Saturn is the materialization, okay, of life, basically. Okay. And I'm really looking at a more spiritual approach, psycho-spiritual approach here. But basically, Saturn in Pisces, okay, is very much about the materialization of the spiritual self, okay, within this lifetime. Okay, and this period, okay, it is the capacity of creating in physical reality, okay, the dreams, the goals, the spiritualness, the compassion, all of those ethereal art, creative energies, okay, that are floating around in the ether somewhere. And then Saturn comes in and boom, material, not immediately, obviously, but, it starts the process of materializing, creating physically these, themes into our life. Now, and collectively, okay. And again, I apologize. I know that the lighting outside is a little crazy. I do have my little ring light because I managed to like actually buy one of those so I could have somewhat better lighting, but I know it's still kind of goofy. So thank you. Anyhow, so where was I? So the materialization of these, spirituality is really what we're striving for here. However, with Neptune retrograde in Aries, okay, Aries is about finding the way, right? Aries is the way shower, okay? It's the first, energy archetypal in the zodiac. And so it is the essence of wanting to find the way. Sometimes it goes the wrong way. Sometimes it doesn't have a plan for where it's going, but essentially it is about putting into the world what we feel we need to put into the world. All right. So with Neptune is, it's the spiritualness, okay, of the collective consciousness. It's a very transcendental energy planet. Okay. And so what it does is that it is a transcendence of views. Okay. And our perspectives, our beliefs are not concrete. Okay. Until we actually take action on them. Right. And that's what Neptune in Aries is doing. Now, with Saturn, when Saturn was together with, conjoined with in sign in Aries, with Neptune, Saturn and Neptune, it was really a creation, a materialization, a manifestation of those, ideological beliefs and taking action on them, making them real. All right. And that happened here during the summer months, right? So if you look back in the summer and you say, okay, how did this happen or how did this manifest for me or worldwide, then you get an idea of, what was going on. Now, Saturn has retrograded back into Pisces and it's asking again, like, you sure these are the dreams you want to manifest? Are you sure these are the goals that you're wanting to focus on? Are you sure this is, what you're really driving to create? Okay. And when Saturn steps back into Aries, I think it's in February, if I'm not mistaken, February 16th, if I'm not mistaken. From now until February, it's like things go whacked. They do, because we thought we had a plan moving forward, and then it got really foggy with Neptune, and then we're like, well, Saturn's no longer there anymore. So what am I creating? Wait, I'm being asked to review my plan. Like, what is going on, right? And so it can be very, very chaotic. Sorry, that was Azul. Um, and then add the eclipses with more instability, right? Because that's what eclipses bring. So basically, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that we are living in a time right now where things that appear real may not necessarily be real. Those beliefs that we have, they may not genuinely be the direction that we need to be going, if that makes sense. We're being asked to reevaluate our sense of direction, right? To be uncomfortable because eclipses shake things up because they intentionally want us outside of our comfort zone. And as humans, we are very much enthralled into our sense of comfort and safety, and eclipses shake that up for us, right? In whatever capacity of life it is, whether it's through relationships, whether it's through your job, whether it's through, your hobbies, whether it's through school, finances, career, jobs, health, whatever it is, those eclipses are going to shake things up so that we can learn and grow and evolve as beings. Okay. And you don't have to be highly spiritual to believe in this. It's just like there's an evolutionary process that happens to human beings, right? So, essentially that's what this time period is doing. The additional challenge, okay, is that Saturn and Neptune are not giving us a clear definition of what that looks like. Okay. And it's now we're living in a time where, and especially right now, we don't know what's real. We think we know it's real, but we don't know what's real. Like the other day, I was listening to the podcast and I was like, oh yeah, okay, wow, this is so interesting. And I was like, wait a second, this sounds like AI. Yeah, and it took me a while, right? Because it was so good, right? And I need a real person. I'm sorry. I just need that energy. I need to hear that energy from a real person. Okay. AI, I'm just not. Anyways. But so that's kind of what we're looking at. Things are not real. We think they're real, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then we're like, whoa, what? And we're also having very polarized experiences as well, right? Like I'm experiencing something and you could be in the same place in the same time and you're experiencing something completely different, which is natural on its own. But this is like an extraordinarily amount of difference that is happening. So what seems real isn't necessarily real. So what does this all mean for us, right? Well, it just means that I think this is a time where we need to recognize we need to have a lot of patience with ourselves. We need to have a lot of patience with each other. Okay. But those of us that are being called to have more of that, how do I say it? Spiritually unifying experience. Okay. Um, that's what we're going to focus on, right? Even if we don't have the clear plan ahead of us, we need to at least have the faith in ourselves that we are being guided by whatever higher source, if that's what you believe in, God, the universe, okay, spirits, or even your sense of self, right? But it's about knowing that you may not have a clear path plan at this time. And so feeling the discomfort, feeling the disunification, feeling the separation is part of the experience right now. And so how are you going to work through that? Right? That's the question is what's in your heart, right? Are you creating unity? Are you creating separation? Are you, focusing on helping others? Are you focusing on helping yourself? Right? There's so many people right now that are going through just a significant amount of discombobulation, okay, including myself, right? I'm trying to heal from 3 years of like really that my body's taken a toll. Medications have done stuff to my body, so it's just anyhow, I'm putting me aside because I'm the good witch, right? Okay, anyhow. So a lot of people are feeling this. So, all right, anyhow, um, done with my TED talk here. All I'm going to say is please check in with each other. Okay. Please know that the next 6 months to especially the next 6 months, these changes, okay, in our, ability to, create a really good plan moving forward may be difficult to ascertain. Okay, so know that there's going to have to be some changes. There's going to have to be adjustments. There's going to have to be re-examination. There's going to have to be, reconsideration of things. And we're not necessarily in a total retrograde kind of year, but because Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, we are feeling that retrograde energy. Okay. And more importantly, right, it's, that Virgo Pisces, how do we heal maybe those ancestral wounds, right? How do we reconnect with our sense of spirit in this material world? How do we allow ourselves to, live within the material and bring in the spiritual, which is the same thing, but backwards that I just said, right? I don't think we live in silo. I don't think that we are just um, physical human beings. I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with me. Okay. And that's okay. They can have their perspective. It's wrong, but that's okay. Okay. But from my perspective, okay, we're a unifying essence, spirituality in a human body, and we cannot separate those two. And when we do, we as individuals get very out of alignment, and humanity starts to get very out of alignment. And spirituality does not necessarily mean religion. Okay. It means how we take care of our own selves, how we take care of our consciousness, our thoughts. How are we mindful of our, how we, the energy that we put out into the world, that we put into us? Okay. And that has a reflection on the external experience as well. So anyhow, all right. I did cross my fingers. I am remembering about the, fall equinox. So a really great little, tradition that I have on fall equinox is it's more difficult in Central Texas because there's not a lot of like fall leaves yet. Okay. But if you are willing and the tree that you are willing, to work with, okay, if there's leaves that have already fallen from the tree, that means the tree has already gifted us those leaves. They are ours. We say thank you so much. If we don't have leaves around, okay, and you want to pluck one from the tree, please make sure that you ask permission first. I mean, I'm sure if somebody came and wanted to pluck our hair out, like we would not be okay with that. So what makes us think that a tree would be okay with that, right? All right. So, leaves. Okay. And what you can do with the leaves is just, sometimes I write my intentions on them. Okay. The energy is still a little chaotic. It's still chaotic with the eclipse about over a little 24 hours ago, but you can write your intentions on there for this fall time. Okay. And this fall time is very much about finishing up, preparing for harvest. Okay. Because we're going to go into the winter months. And so, what do you need to prepare for? Okay. What is it that you need to prepare for in your life? Right. What is it that you need to harvest? Okay. What is it that you have been, waiting for during the summer months? Right now, you're like, I get to really prepare and start diving in. And especially for our own sense of self. Okay, like what do you need, okay, to help you get through the winter months when there's going to be a lot of introspection? Right now, we're collecting everything that we need, okay, for the next phase. So, what is it that you need to allow yourself to, complete the circle, right? And of course, we witches, our year ends, on, the Halloween, right? 31st. And so our new year starts after that. But that doesn't mean that, anyhow, I'm not going to go into that. But so bear with me. So grab some leaves, write your intentions on them. Okay. And or if you just want to bless the trees, okay. Sometimes I like to just, squish them up, right? Especially the ones that are dry, right? And then go out into Mother Earth. And then I just send those babies out into the world. They usually end up all over my yard, and that's okay because the universe knows and nature knows that I am intending to send those out into the world. All right. Something simple like that. Okay. I will do another video. Okay. Share another video with some more creative, things that we can do during the autumn time to help ourselves. But that's it about for now because this is getting really long and I really appreciate you all watching if you did to the end. And that is it. Remember, we are all good witches. Yes, we are all good witches. Okay. In Spanish, it's gender oriented, bruja y brujo. Okay. Okay, in English, it's not. Okay, so men are witches too. So we are all good witches. All right, everyone, that is it. I hope this has been helpful. Be kind, be nice to each other. Enjoy the equinox, equal time. Okay, dark and light. Okay, to focus on yourselves. And you know what? That's a good one too. I've done that one before. Sorry, I always do this. This is a great time to reflect on the shadow side and the light side, because as we get into, as I was saying before, as we get into winter, we're going to focus on the shadow side. But right now, we need to focus on both, right? How are those equal in your life? Ooh, that was good. That was good. I think that was good. Anyway, just going to give myself kudos. All right, everyone, that's it. Take care and blessed be.